moments when a singer, rapper, or artist shines so bright that you think they might just be the one to shake the world to its core. However, there are several times that we find our hopes dashed and our expectations are left wanting more. When the young singer Lumidee stepped into the limelight back in the early 2000s, it seemed like the world of R&B was about to be turned on its head. However, she fell short of expectations and soon faded into the background after a brief stint in the limelight. Whether or not she's plotting a comeback in the shadows remains to be seen, and we will discuss this by the end of the video. For now, let's take a look at Lumidee and the impact that she made on the R&B world. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video.
What can you expect to hear from you in the future?
Well, expect to hear more and more and more because I'm not going to stop, you know. I mean, I'm going to keep switching up my style, you know. I want to keep, you know, reinventing myself because I'm looking for a long career. You know, I'm not here for the quick shine. Like, this is what I always wanted to do. I'm here now, and I'm not gonna go.
Lumidee was born in 1984 in East Harlem, New York. She and her 4 siblings lost their father in 1995 and ended up being raised by her grandparents as her mother was frequently in and out of jail. Lumidee had already taken her first steps down the path of rapping and singing before she turned 12. At 14, doctors misdiagnosed her with lupus, but it was later discovered to be rheumatoid arthritis instead. I know I probably said that wrong. She ended up being homeschooled for 3 years due to this. Her time at home allowed her to further work on her music, as she used it as a way to help with her pain.
I got sick after junior high school, and in me getting sick, I was pretty much confined to having to be home. I couldn't hang out. I couldn't do really anything. Like, I had home instruction. I couldn't even go to school. So in me feeling like so closed in and locked in and away from everything, I was just left with my thoughts, you know, left with all these feelings and shit. And I started writing poetry. I just started turning the poems into songs. And that's when I realized, like, yo, okay, this is really something. This is a talent. Like, it's when I looked at myself and was like, this is dope.
Around the time Lumidee was 19 years old, she collaborated with DJ Ted Smooth, a neighborhood producer, to work on her debut single, Never Leave You, Uh-Oh, Uh-Oh. The single was recorded for Straight Face, an independent record label. The song would go on to be a defining moment for most of Lumidee's career. When she was coming up, she was influenced by several artists. Now when the song Never Leave You came out, it was a huge club hit. Its unique chorus that was a blend of singing, rapping, and ethnicity was popular with the club goers back then. The song ended up being voted hottest song by New York's Hot 97. All the success from the first single was too much too soon. It was hectic, scary, and I didn't know what to expect. Lumidee's rheumatoid arthritis stayed with her all through this, and when she was 22, she had to get a hip replacement. While the singer wasn't exactly old enough to get into the clubs that played her music, she was old enough for Universal Records to add her to their roster, and that's what they did around the year 2003. After getting signed, it was finally time for Lumidee to release her debut album, and she did just that, putting out a project called Almost Famous around 2003. The album was a mixed match of reggae, R&B, and some pop sounds that the singer enjoyed playing with. And according to Nielsen SoundScan, it sold over 270,000 copies in the United States alone. Her debut single, Never Leave You, did quite well for itself on the charts. It climbed up to number 3 on the US charts and took it a step further to number 2 on the UK charts. The song appeared twice on her Almost Famous album, once in its original sound and once more as a remix. She featured Fabulous and Busta Rhymes on the remix. This would go on to be her only hit single for a very long time, as Lumidee disappeared from the mainstream music industry almost immediately after her album's release. The singer-rapper instead chose to focus her time and efforts on dancehall music and reggaeton. Once her debut single had done its time and faded from the public notice, Lumidee packed her bags and moved to Europe. She performed in Germany, the Netherlands, France, and Belgium while she was there. During this time, she focused on releasing mixtapes made up of primarily freestyles and newer material to her new European audience. She also ended up featuring on several tracks while in Europe to some extent. Her most successful songs during her time in Europe were Crashing a Party, the second single off Almost Famous, and Scientello, a single she worked on with Speedy. To some degree, Lumidee came back into the limelight around 2006. She released her song Dance, featuring the rapper Fat Man, to be added to the FIFA World Cup soundtrack. The soundtrack also featured a sample of I Wanna Dance With Somebody by Whitney Houston. Dance was a club hit, almost like Never Leave You but not quite close, but it even made the charts of countries where it was released officially. It made the top 10 list of several countries outside of the United States. She would later feature on the remix of the club anthem Puerto Rico by Frankie Cutclass in 2006. The remix also featured Voltio, Yomo Toro, and Joel Ortiz. Now, even though Lumidee made moves in 2006, it wasn't until 2007 when she fully stepped back into the limelight. In April of the same year, she released her second album called Unexpected. It came out under TVT Records, a huge change from her previous situation. TVT Records is a perfect way for me to come back. And again, I'm coming out of left field, just like Never Leave You. Nobody ever thought of me coming back on a street credible label like TVT. Actually, nobody ever thought of me really even coming back, period. Now, like her previous project, this one is also a mix of her rapping and singing ability and showed a hint of Lumidee's versatility.
She's like I'm right here. Come on, toughen up. Boo, get it together and just try your luck.
In one of her interviews, she admitted that this album was much better than her previous one. The album featured vocals from Pitbull, Shaggy, Nor, Jim Jones, and even Snoop Dogg. Wyclef and Scorch Torch were also involved in its production. Her single called She's Like the Wind, a cover of Patrick Swayze's version, ended up at number 43 on the US singles chart, but remained unreleased in Europe. Instead, TVT Records chose to release another record called Crazy, another single which featured Pitbull. Now, Crazy didn't have the same success of its predecessors. It didn't perform terribly either. It was moderately successful, particularly in the UK, Austria, and Germany. The singer would also appear on MTV Cribs in 2006, where she showcased her home in New Jersey. The episode was aired in August 2007.
You're the type of a dude who be keeping his cool and making a move.
And after making a little bit of noise, the singer remained silent for a while before popping back up around May 2009. She released her mixtape I'm Up Volume 1 under her label Low G Music Entertainment. Lumidee also spent most of the late 2009 working on her mixtape titled Luminati. The mixtape was made exclusively available on coast-to-coast-mixtapes.com in January 2010. Around this time, she continued to work on an album that was supposed to be released around 2010. The album did not come out. Around 2011, she featured on a song called No Superstar and also worked with fellow rapper Somaya Reese on Dali Mami in the same year. Now, at one point in time, there was a little bit of confusion in Lumidee's career. A lot of people thought she was going to sign to Young Money. Now, there was a tweet from her account where she tweeted that she would be signed to Young Money, but she later claimed that her account was hacked and that the tweet was false. Now, whenever a celebrity puts out a tweet and deletes it, then says their account was hacked, most of the time it's bullshit. They probably made a mistake, they probably said some shit when they were drunk, high, or whatever it is, only to regret it the next day. Now, this is what Lumidee had to say about Young Money. I did not sign a deal with anyone. Sorry for the false info, corny ass people had access to my page. Now, when this all happened, Young Money Records also denied the claims of any partnership between them and the singer. Now, after this, Lumidee went on to do other things, working on Michael Fall's Ring My Bell alongside Aziza and Rick Elbeck. Around 2014, Lumidee announced the potential release of an EP titled La Luz. This was not the first time that we heard of it. Now, around this time, Lumidee's mind frame was different. She claimed she would never assign to a major label again, claiming that they don't care much about the artist. Which is true. Yes, it is. I do work with major and different companies overseas still, but just singles and licensed deals. I'm still a businesswoman. But as far as locking myself into a major contract with a major label, they would have to do something for me that I can't do for myself. But truthfully, it's not something I could ever see myself doing. There's no heart there. It's like you're dealing with robots. Lumidee also released a song called Where I Wanna Be in the same year. In essence, Lumidee was a one-hit wonder. When speaking on her first hit single, Lumidee said the success of it changed her life, making people recognize her wherever she went. It definitely stood the test of time for me. It had to be like 3 days a week where people would hit me like, "Oh, I heard your song in the club," or "I heard your song while shopping." The record follows friends of mine as well. It's crazy. It's like I'm haunting them. I hated it before, but I learned to love it. Now, Lumidee's career is mostly empty of scandals and rumors. The one story that surfaced around 2005 was quickly squashed, and nothing was heard of it again. Around that time, it was rumored that she was arrested for being part of a $50 million drug ring and in possession of over $1 million of cocaine. She would have served jail time for it, but she later came out to deny the rumor, and a few days later, nothing was heard of it. Now, aside from this, Lumidee mostly lives a private life and stays away from the news unless it's for music. She is one of the few that did not desperately cling onto the limelight and instead let time take its toll on her career and faded away with passing. Now, Lumidee is still dropping music. In fact, she dropped a song called Sleigh Ride around 2019. She also dropped a song called Think About It in 2020. Lumidee hasn't posted on social media in a while, but she was most recently active in the summer of 2020. She was posting pictures that were taken in locations all over the world, making sure her fans have access to her. She also has a YouTube channel called Low G Music, but she hasn't posted since 2019. The musician still does interviews and appears to still get gigs. Lumidee gets about 700k monthly listeners on Spotify, and her most popular songs on the platform are Never Leave You, She's Like the Wind, and Feel Like Making Love featuring Shaggy. Like I said before, Lumidee is the definition of a one-hit wonder. She made noise with Never Leave You and used it to maintain her career and start her own label. Was she destined to be the next Beyonce, Alicia Keys? No. However, she still managed to get signed to a major label and get her name out there, something a lot of musicians are not able to do. The fact that she still performs is amazing. However, Lumidee still recalls a time when the public would not let her be more than the woman who made Never Leave You. I never stopped doing my music. People put me in a box, and I've been fighting ever since to get out of it. I'm here now, and I'm ready. Now, is Lumidee going to make a huge comeback? Probably not. The only thing that she can do right now is maintain what she already has. One hit. That hit is gonna keep her paid, making her an artist that can usually only move the crowd when her hit single is played. This week's post notification shoutouts go to Moon Honey Mummy, David Ogletree, Joe Augustine, and Sincere Jones. Thanks for being a part of the fam and turning on your notification bell. That's it for me. My name is your boy Ali. What happened to Lumidee in your opinion? Let me know down below. Video requests, be sure to let me know down below as well. New What Happened To video dropping next week. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.